Okay, welcome. We're looking here at another distance, rate, and time problem. As we read through this problem, we see a train travels 90 miles in the same time that a plane covers 532 miles. We're asked if the speed of the plane is 10 miles per hour less than 3 times the speed of the train. Find both speeds. Okay, so in any distance, rate, and time problem, we want to use a distance, rate, and time chart to help us organize our information. So here I set up my chart, distance equals rate times time, and I have my two distances, distance for the train, distance for the plane. And then we start to fill in what we do know. What we do know is that the train travels 190 miles. The plane travels 532 miles. Now, what we're interested in are the speeds of the plane and the train, so I'm going to go ahead and let those things be my variables. Now, what we know here is that the time for the train and the time for the plane are the same. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is, using my formula, I can't use another variable, so using my formula, distance equals rate times time, I'm going to solve that for time. To solve for time, I have to divide by the rate. And that gives me a time for the train of 190 divided by the variable t, and a time for the plane that's 532 divided by p. Okay, and now we use the fact that the times are the same. So if they're the same, then they must be equal, even though they look very different. And then what I've done here is realized I have a fraction equal to a fraction, so I can go ahead and cross multiply. So multiply 190 times p, and then the t times the 532. And that gives me my first equation. It's a little bit of a different way of approaching a problem. This is a different variety than many common distance problems. And then we go back to the problem and we read the second sentence. It says the speed of the plane is 10 miles per hour less than 3 times the train. Less than means you're taking it away. So the plane would be 10 taken away from 3 times the speed of the train, or 3t minus 10. We're taking 10 away from the 3 times the train, so the 3t. And now we have our two equations. Now you can solve your system using whichever method you want. This one, though, because it's solved for, we have an equation solved for p, it's ready-made for the substitution method. So what I'm going to do is take my second equation there, that 190 p equals 532, and I'm going to go in and replace the p with what it is equal to, the 3t minus 10. Okay. That gives me my equation that has only a single variable type. I'd encourage you to pause the video and try to solve the problem now on your own. And so as we do continue on, though, we need to distribute the 190 through, so we're going to have 190 times 3t and 190 times 10, and so we multiply. 190 times 3t will be 570t, 190 times 10 will be 1900, and that's equal to 532. So now I'm going to go ahead and bring the 532 over by subtracting it, so I can get the variable on one side. And when I subtract that from 570, I get 38t. And then to save a little bit of writing, I'm going to go ahead and move the 1900 over to the other side as well. And so I get 38t equals 1900. And then we solve for t, and this is where we're going to hope, like, hey, please let this be a nice answer. And it turns out that it is, because 38 goes into 1900 exactly 50 times. And so now we figured out that the train is going 50 miles per hour. What remains now is to figure out the speed of the plane. So we can go back to our p equals 3t minus 10 and replace t with 50. And so we'd get 3 times 50 minus 10, and in simplifying that, we would get that the plane speed is 140 miles per hour. Okay. Hopefully this example helps as you get into problems like this in the homework.